Welcome to Chumash Rashi. Today's learning in honor of my father's yard site, 46th yard site. Hard to believe. Wow. Aryaleib ben Yaakov Alevi, Mizan Shama, Aliyah, go from strength to strength. Chayil Chayil. Then may you come down here. Give him Mashiach now. Ultimate Aliyah down here. Okay. We are in Parshas Emor. We are now going to go into the holidays. This Parsha is giving us a full rundown of the holidays. So stay tuned. Yidaber Hashem al Moshe Lemor, and Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Daber el bnei Israel, speak to the children of Israel, Marta Alehem, and say to them, Moyadei Hashem, the Moyadei. Moyad is like Cholamoid, right? It means an appointed time. Like a special time, right? Moyadei Hashem, the appointed holidays of Hashem. Hashem Tikuroi, some that you shall call them, Mikra Kodesh, you shall call them designated holy occasions. Designated Kodesh Elehem Moyadai. These are designated holy occasions. These are my appointed holy days, right? Elehem Moyadai. They are my holy special days. Moyadai, mine, possessive.
Moyadai, it's mine.
Yes. Daber el bnei Israel, Rashi, number 2. Hashem, so speak to the children of Israel. Hashem's appointed festivals. I'll say Moyadais. Make appointed festivals. You, Israel, that the Israelites should be present by him in them. Malamed, this teaches us Shema Abrim Yisashona, that we add a leap year, a 13th month. Al Golia is because of the exiles, the Jews living in the diaspora, because they were uprooted from their places, meaning they left their homes in Israel, and they in order that they should ascend to Jerusalem for the festival. And they have not yet arrived to Jerusalem. Wow. So the fixing of the calendar is a responsibility of the courts alone and not the entire nation. Yet the Torah, Moshe addresses the issue to the children of Israel, the entire nation, to teach us that the court should fix the calendar in such a way to allow the maximum representation of the nation of Israel to come to Jerusalem at the time of festivals, postponing them, if necessary, through the addition of a 13th month. This is one of the reasons why the court calculates a 13th month, and so on. Interesting, right? In other words, it's speaking to the court, it's speaking to the courts, but yet the verse is speaking to the Bnei Israel, meaning that the majority of the Bnei Israel have to be able to come to celebrate the holidays, and if they can't come celebrate the holidays, they have to, the courts have to add an extra month to give them the opportunity that they would be able to. We're going to have it another time that it's going to be because of Chodesh Avi, because Pesach has to be in the spring. So therefore they have to. But here's another reason, because since this is being spoken to the Bnei Israel, so meaning that the holiday they have to observe, so therefore you have to make sure that there's a holiday is capable for them to observe. So in other words, it's going to be like rainy, wintry.
It's also to keep the festivals according to the seasons.
Yeah, but that's how we're learning this verse over here, and that's not what this verse is saying. I mentioned that already. Right? I mentioned that, but that's not what this verse is saying. Elsewhere it says that, but I just mentioned that. Okay, thank you. Chaim V'rocha. Amen. Yeah, Aryalei ben Yaakov Alevi. Amen. Okay, 3. 6 days a week you should do work. And the 7th day should be a Sabbath of Sabbath, a complete rest. Mikra Kodesh, it's a convocation of holiness, an occasion of holiness. called holiness. All work should not be done. Shabbos it is a Shabbos. Hashem to God, and all of your dwelling places. Rashi number 3. We got a truck over here because we got a lot to do. 6-day period. Why is Shabbos now juxtaposed here to the festivals? To teach you, anyone who desecrates the festivals, it's considered it's as if he desecrated Shabbos. Whoever upholds the festivals, it's considered as if you upheld the Shabbos.
I have a question.
Yeah. Quickly.
Somebody doesn't have to do the Shabbos to done the Shabbos, in other words.
What does that mean?
Consider it as if you fulfilled the Shabbos, if you do the holidays.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. The Shabbos is more severe than the holidays. That's what we learned. More severe.
Yeah, because in the Zohar it says that Shabbat is like the daughter of the king.
Okay.
The festivals.
I'm going to have to interrupt. Okay, I want because we're not going to get finished if we can't get off on a tangent. We're learning Chumash and Rashi. I know. I'm sorry. I really have to stay focused now because it's lengthy, and I want to finish it because what happens is we get caught in the middle. So I'm going to shorten my words, and everybody else. Okay, we're going to really be focused. We're going to put on our blinders now.
Amen.
We have a time at the end. We will add. My apologies. Okay, I say I'm sorry to cut off, but yeah, for the sake of everybody that we can. Okay. So number 4, Eile Moedei Hashem. These are the holidays of Hashem, Mikra Kodesh, that are called or that they're holy occasions, Asher Tikroi Sam B'Moyadam, that you should call them in their appointed times. By the way, this is how you make Kiddush by the morning. After every holiday, these are the words that you make Kiddush with. These words we just said. Eila Moedei Hashem. These are appointed festivals of Hashem. Lamaila Medaber. Above it speaks. B'Ibor Shana. By adding a month to the year. Kam Medaber. B'Kiddush HaChodesh. Of sanctifying the new moon. Rosh Chodesh. I would say I'm not clear how he gets this referring to. You have to designate the first of the month. That way you can designate when the holidays are. So this is again for Beis Din. Okay? Because look at the next verse. It's telling us, B'chodesh HaRishon. So how do you know when it's going to be the first month, when it's going to be that day of the month? Because Beis Din has to, the court of law has to sanctify Rosh Chodesh, then that will allow us. So just as Beis Din also puts in an extra month, now it's telling us, because it's a repetition over here, this previous verse, right? That these are the holidays, you should call them holy. Well, we already said that previously, right? So what we said that in verse number 2. We interrupted with verse number 3 about Shabbos, but now we are going back to it, but it's repetition. So he's saying that to tell us the court has to sanctify the new month. So that way we know the days of the month, right? The first month of the 14th of the month is in the afternoon. You shall sacrifice the Passover offering to Hashem, right? This is on the eve of Pesach. Rashi, Ben Arabayim. Towards evening, from 6 hours onwards. Pesach LaHashem, Kravas Karban, the bringing of the offering, Sheshmai Pesach, that its name is Pesach. Right. And it's not that the holiday is called Pesach, because we'll see that the holidays are called Pesach. The holiday is called Chag HaMatzah, it's the holiday of Matzah. Rashi's saying that it's the sacrifice that we're making reference to. Now, on the 15th day of the month, of this month, Chag HaMatzah, this is called the holiday matzah, LaHashem, the Shivas Yomim Matzah Teichelu. 7 days you should eat matzah. On the first day, it's called holy. It's a holy occasion. Should be for you. Any kind of labor you shall not do. The first day of Pesach, right? We keep 2 days because of the doubt of what is called the first day, right? Because we go by calendar, but not by the court of law that makes the calendar. Number 8, Vikravtem Ishe LaHashem, and you shall bring a fire offering to Hashem, Shivas Yomim, for 7 days. And then on the 7th day of the holiday, right, which was the splitting of the sea, if you remember, right, Mikra Kodesh, it is called holy. It is a holy occasion. So also on that day, you can't work, right? That's Shvisha Pesach and Achron Pesach that we have outside of Israel. Rashi. And you shall bring a fire offering. What is this offering? You have a daily offering, right? Does a daily offering stop on the holidays? No, because it's daily. What is done then on the holiday? It's called an addition. What's addition in Hebrew? Musaf. Musaf. This is so Rashi says, hey, Musafim, these are the Musaf offerings. That will be detailed later on. There's no details over here. It'll be detailed later on in Parshas Pinchas in the book of Numbers, which we always read on holidays as maftir, right? Maftir on Yom Tov, right? We read that part because it is the offering. We would take 2 Torahs. We read a portion for the holiday, and then we read about the sacrifices. That's in the second Sefer Torah that on a holiday that we read. Why? Because it's musaf to you, additional Torah, additional offering, right? And additional davening. We have a musaf amida, right? So why they mentioned here? If it's in Parshas Pinchas, what's the need to mention it over here? Rashi asks, this is to tell you that the Musaf offering does not doesn't prevent one another. That you shall bring an offering to Hashem in any instance. If there are no bulls, still then bring from rams, which is part of the Musaf offering. If there's no bulls or rams, then bring from sheep, which is part of the offering. In other words, this verse is coming. We learn later about it. So why are we mentioning it over here? Because it's saying over here that you have to bring an offering, a fire offering. But later on, we're going to learn there's 3 different. There's bulls, there's goats, and sheep. One doesn't prevent the other. Now, you might think that all 3 you have to bring, and if not, then don't bring anything, right? Don't bring anything. Like lulav and esrog. If you're missing the willow branch, then don't do the 3 because it's worth 0 if you don't have all 4. So you might think the same thing is over here too. If you don't. This verse comes to tell us, no, if it's a fire offering from Hashem, mikol makom, in any water, whatever you have. If you don't have bulls, so then bring from the goats. If you don't have bulls and goats, then bring from the sheep. One doesn't prevent the other. Each one is its own unique offering of the Musaf. Shivas Yomim. 7-day period. Kol makom shenemar Shivas. Whenever it says the word Shivas, Shem Davarhu, it's a noun. Shavua Shel Yamim means a week of 7 days. And in Old French, Satan. And likewise, Kol Lashon, any time the term Shmenas Sheishes Chamish V'Shleishes, and it says 8, 6, 5, or 3. Interesting, it leaves out 4. It's a noun. Melechus Haveda, work of labor. Afilu Malachis, even task. Which I consider labor and necessity by you. That you're going to have a financial loss if you abstain from doing them. You're going to like a matter that will be lost because if you don't do it now, Havanti Miteris Kahanim. So I have understood from the Midrash, the Kasne, that we have learned there. Yochel, one might think, that even the intermediate days of the holiday, that a person would be forbidden from work. And it says, let's go over here to the verse back. It says, bring these offerings, right? The seventh day will be holy. So all these kinds of works you can't do. When can't you do it? Only during the holiday, the first day and the seventh day, right? Mm-hmm. But Chol Hamoed, you could do it. Okay? Mm-hmm. If it's something that is going to be a financial loss for you. If it's not a financial loss for you, then you shouldn't do it on Chol Hamoed. As if if you have somebody working for you and you could tell them don't work Chol Hamoed, then tell them not to work if it won't be a financial loss. If it's a financial loss, then they could do that work for you.
They could do it for you. Okay. Right.
Or you doing the work. Let's say you have to go to work. Let's say Chol Hamoed, if you don't go to work, you don't get the salary. That's a financial loss. So you could. On the first and seventh day on holiday, you can't go to work, right? On those days. But on the days that are intermediate days, if it's going to be a financial loss, then you could.
Can a non-Jew do it on holidays?
It depends. I want to please don't ask those questions. Okay. I'm very sorry for being tough.
Yeah.
But otherwise we're not going to get. Okay.
Yes.
Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying in the 9th verse, now 10th verse, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you come to the land that I'm giving to you, and you will reap its harvest, and you will bring the oimer. The oimer, we'll see Rashi in a second. What's that? You'll bring the oimer. Right now, what are we doing? Sfiras oimer, the counting of the oimer. But here's the oimer. It should be the beginning of your reaping that you give to the kohen. Rashi. We have our, okay. Reishis Ketzirchem, number 10, the first of your harvest, that it should be the first of your harvest, Oimer, Asir Seifa, which is a tenth of an Eifa, Kach, Hayashma, this is what its name is, as it's measured with an Oimer, meaning a tenth of an Eifa, which is, okay, I forget now how much that is. Okay, so this is, you're bringing the Oimer, right? We didn't say when, right? What did we start with? What holiday are we in? Pesach. No, we're in Pesach. We didn't leave Pesach, right? The Hanif, let's go to the next verse and we'll see how we'll see how that's coming together. Okay, I just wanted to give you the context, right? We are in Pesach, right? Speaking about Musaf of Pesach, first and seventh days of Pesach, right? Now we're going to the Omer. Verse number 11. And you shall wave the Omer before Hashem, that should be acceptable for you. The key words over here. From the day after the day of rest. The kohen shall wave it. Okay, big thing over here. The day after the rest. What does that mean?
The rest.
Let's just learn Rashi. We're not learning anything else but Rashi. Hey, Nif, wave it. Okay? Shall wave it. Kol tenufa, any waving that's mentioned in the Torah means melech or mevi, means back and forth, up and down. Right? In other words, this oimer, which is a tenth of an ephah, right? Kohen goes with it like this and like this, as Rashi just said, right? Why does he do it? To restrain harmful winds, and he lifts and lowers it, to restrain harmful dews. This should be an appeasement for you. If you will bring this offering The mishpat hazeh, according to this law, this will be an appeasement for you. And others, do what you got to do in this, right? Now, in Mochras Shabbos, on the morrow of the rest day of rest, so some people think it means after the Shabbos. No, it means after the day of rest. Which day of rest? The first day of Pesach. The first day of Pesach. After the first day of Pesach, bring this oimer, right?
But in the diaspora, it's going to be the third day. Because the first 2 days are holidays.
No, first of all, this is in the Holy Temple. So the Holy Temple, it's on the day after the first day, right? We're not talking, this is the biblical teaching over here, not what we practice now, right? If you will say Shabbos Bereshit, it means the first day, the seventh day of the week, right? In other words, on the first day of the week. In other words, Sunday. This means Sunday because it says after Shabbos. Shabbos is the seventh day of the week. So it means the day after, which means Sunday. You might think that that's what it means, right? Then you would know which Shabbos it's going to be, which its reference is to, right? Here we're coming from Pesach. We're speaking about the first day of Pesach. It's a day of rest. But if it's meant to be literally Shabbos, which by the way, the Sadducees and the Karaites, that's what they said it is. This is one of the big arguments, right? Because they only take literally and they don't take the oral tradition. But Hirashi is explaining, no, if that's the case, then which Shabbos is it? Any Shabbos, because it doesn't specify. So it means the day of rest, but it means the day of rest from the first day of Pesach. We're going to go back to where this is a continuation of. After that day of rest. And that's when we start counting the Emor, right? We don't count it on the first day of Pesach. The next night we start counting because it's that day that the following day you bring the offering of the Emor on the altar. No, the 15th is a day of rest. The day after, Mimochras, the day after the day of rest, right? And that's when we count the Emor also, and likewise, right? But we're counting the Emor because of the offering of the Emor. Okay? Okay, 12. And you will do on that day of Anif them as Emor, and you will wave the Emor, right? And you will do on the day that you're waving that Emor, you're also going to do Kevis Tamim. You're going to do an unblemished lamb, ben schnatzer that's a year old, la'ela, that's going to be for a burnt offering la'Hashem. That this is coming as an obligation for the Emor, not as a part of the additional offerings on Pesach, right? We have Musaf. Musaf, when are we going to learn about Musaf? Parshas Pinchas, later on in Bamidbar, right? If you're looking at Sefer Torah, if you ever want to know a good Sefer Torah, you look at the Parshas Pinchas because that's the most read part ever in the Torah because all of the Musaf offerings are there that we read from. So you look and see if it's good there, right? That's, if it's written well there and it's not rubbed out, then you know the rest of the Torah is going to be pretty good, right? But that's later. So this, don't make a mistake that it says Musaf. No, this is an Emor offering, okay? How do we know that? Because it says do it together with the waving of this, of the Emor. 13, and the meal offering shall be 2/10 of an ephah. Right, the Emor is 1/10 of an ephah. The shemen, together with oil. It's a fire offering to Hashem. It is a pleasant fragrance to Hashem v'niskai, and it's libation. Yayin is from water, from wine. Rivis ahin, a quarter of a hin. Okay, Rashi. This is a meal offering that accompanies every sacrifice along with the libation. In other words, it's not an independent meal offering. This is coming together with the offering, right? What offering? Emor offering, right? This is a double of the standard meal offering that was accompanies a burnt offering of a sheep, right? It usually would be 1/10. This is 2/10. And you poured an offering of wine of a quarter of a hin. Even though the meal offering is double, and the poured wine is not doubled, as we see in the verse. Okay, 14. We're good? We're good, everybody? Yeah? Huh? We're not so good, huh? It's hard to follow?
You're focused.
Huh? Yes, focus.
Trying to follow.
Right. Keep all other thoughts outside, so that way we can follow what's being said here.
The offering, is it going? 2/10 or 1/10?
Hmm?
2/10 or 1/10, who are they offering?
It's not offering. It was an offering to Hashem, right? On the altar, right?
Yeah.
The lechem koli, and it shall be. It says here. That it's parched grain. The charmel, loy seichlu, do not eat it. Ad etzem hayom, until the very day, hazeh, this very day. Ad haviyechem is korban keichem, until you bring the offering of God, of your God. This is an eternal statute throughout the generations and all of your dwellings. Right? So remember, this is a grain offering, right? So from the grain offering, you would eat from it, right? So this verse is saying, don't eat from it until you brought the sacrifices. Okay, let's see Rashi in 14. Kali, parched meal, carmel rach. This is a meal from soft, plump kernels, that is dried in the oven, like roasted. Mecharmel, that's kali, sorry. And plump kernels, hem klayes, there's parched kernels, shekarin, and in Old French, granola. Granola. Granole. Huh? It's the original granola.
Wow.
Fabrice, comment on prononce ce mot-là? Grenade? Grenade? Grenade?
Granolish. Granolish. Okay. You guys can practice your old French on your time. In all of your settled places, the sages had a dispute over here. What does this mean over here? Some learn from here. So what's happening over here? Folks, look this way. Hello. Look this way. I want to make sure you follow. This is now to allow the new crop that you can eat from the new crop. It's called chadash. Chadash means new, the new crop, right? So until you bring this offering, you're not allowed to eat from the new crop, right? So there's a debate over here by the sages. Does this only apply in Israel, or does it apply outside of Israel too? Because it says, what do the words say? In all of your dwellings. What does that mean? Does it mean only dwellings in Israel or dwellings anywhere?
What does Kodesh mean?
Chadash means new.
Oh, not Kodesh.
Chadash. Well, Chodesh means month, new month, right?
Yeah.
A month is new because it's a new moon, right? Same root word. When you're going to come to our new yeshiva that we're starting soon, then you're going to learn all of this.
New yeshiva?
New yeshiva, we're starting at night times, yes.
Where's that?
Right here.
Okay, here.
Right
Okay,
here.
okay,
Right here. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
I know.
Yeshiva Chadash.
Oh boy. Okay, let's stop. So there's a debate over here. If Chadash applies outside the land of Israel, there are those that say, this verse only comes to tell us, right? Why is it saying in all of your dwellings? Why does it just say in the land? Say in the land, right? And that means not outside of the land. But why does it say all your dwellings? That sounds like it's anywhere outside of Israel too. So they want to learn that no, it means only when you inherit the land and you get your dwelling place. means after the 14 years, 7 years of battling for the land, and 7 years to divide the land, that's when this mitzvah begins. After you right, v'yeshiva, shekavshu v'chilku. And there are those that say, no, it means anywhere, even here, the debate. That's why you'll see sometimes on that this is not chadash, it's yashon, right? It's old. Whether it's not using yashon, right, or it's using yashon that it's old, but chadash because there's a question of chadash over here. Okay. Now we have Shabbos. Now it says, the verse says, and you shall count for yourselves. That's why it's not the chazan just counts. You have to count for yourself. It's your own mitzvah, right? Shabbos, the day after Shabbos. What's the day after Shabbos? What day is that?
Sunday.
No, the day after the first day of Pesach. Sadducees said that.
Yeah, there's a question.
No, we learned that in Rashi already. On the day that you brought the Emor to Nufa of waving Sheva Shabbos, to me was the end. You should count for 7 complete weeks. Rashi, Malchus the Shabbos the day after, Malchus Yom Tov the day after the festival, right? The first day of Pesach. They should be complete. Melamed. This teaches that you count in the evening following the 15th of the Nisan. Shem loikem ain't it tamimus, because if not, it's not complete. In other words, don't count the first night, because then it's not complete. Complete means here a complete day has passed, and therefore you're counting after the completion of that day. You're making the count.
16.
Right. That way it's complete. Yeah. The weeks won't be complete. Okay. Ad Ma'achris Shabbos. And you shall count until the day after the Shabbos of the day, the 7th Shabbos Hashvi is the 7th Shabbos, meaning 7 weeks. Tisperu, you shall count Chamishim Yom, 50 days. You craft the Mincha Chadash Hashem, and you'll bring now a new meal offering to God. What is this talking about? This is Shavuos, right? Rashi's 16 rather. Shabbos Hashvi is the 7th week. Kitarkumut is understood according to Unkelis. Shvuasa Shvi also, the 7th week. Not the 7th Shabbat. Not the 7th Shabbos, but the 7th week. Okay? Yeah, Ad Malchus Shabbos Hashvi's Tisperu, until the morrow of the 7th week you shall count, but not including. And count, but not including. There are 49 days that we count. Right? But on the 50th day, you should bring now a new meal offering for Hashem. On the 50th day, Takrivu, you should make this offering. And I say, that's what I say. The Midrash says, though, sorry. But that's the Midrash. But the simple meaning over here is, until the morrow of the 7th week, which is the 50th day, Tispiru, you shall count. Mikra Mesudders here, and this is an inverted verse. Mincha Chadasha, a new meal offering. Here Mincha Rishona. This is the first meal offering. Shehuva Mina Chadash, that you're bringing from the new crop. Remember, you said you can't use the new crop, right? This is now the first meal offering that you're bringing on the base of Mikdash, right? That is from the new crop. The same time, if you will object and say, no, they already brought a meal offering for the Emor that has been offered from the new crop, right? That because we already said that that's on the 2nd day, the day after you're bringing the Emor. That's from the new, right? The L'chora, that's what we learned. How can you say that this meal offering is new? What does that mean? And if you share, call them enochas, we can answer that the Emor is not like all other meal offerings, because it comes from barley. So the one that's brought the day after Pesach, Emor, that's barley. This is new because it's not barley, this is wheat. So that allowed barley to be brought, to be used, right? This is allowing that wheat now could be right? The new crop of wheat. So this new crop of wheat, okay? And from your dwellings, taviu lechem, that you shall bring bread. Tenufa, it's a wave, a bread of waving. Stein, bring two of them. Shneis Esrainim, they are 2 loaves you have to bring that are 2/10 of an ephah. Say less with that are a refined flour. Tiena. Right before we didn't say fine flour. Why? Because it's barley. Barley is not a fine flour. Right. Wheat is a fine flour. Tiena. Chametz teafena. It's chametz. This is the only time that you bring something leavened. Everything else was kosher for Passover a whole year. So chametz you shall bring teafena bikurim laHashem. They should be baked. Teafena baked. They're the first offering to Hashem. Rashi in 17, in your settling, but not outside of the land of Israel, because it's your dwellings, meaning that which belongs to you, means the land of Israel. Before it said, and all of your dwellings, meaning the point was the all. Here it's not all, so it means in Israel, where do you dwell?
Europe, okay.
Yeah, and not all. Lechem tenufa, it's a bread of elevation. Lechem truma. So tenufa here doesn't mean actually waving, right? It means that it's being raised. Amorim l'shem gavoya, meaning it's being raised for the sake of God. This is the new meal offering, Amor l'mayla, that we mentioned in the preceding verse. Bikurim, the first fruits, this is the first of all meal offerings. Even prior to the meal offering of jealousy that brought for the saita, because that comes from barley and not from wheat. The meal offering of jealousy may not be brought then offered by a new crop before these 2 breads are brought. 18. Okay. Vikraftem is alechem, and you should offer this bread, shivas kvasim, together with it 7 lambs tamimim that are unblemished, b'nei shana that are a year old, a par ben bakar, and a bull that's young, ben bakar echad, one of them, the elim shnayim, and a ram, 2 of them, iu oila laHashem, they will be a burnt offering to Hashem, and their meal offering that comes together with him and their libation, ishe, are part of the fire offering, right? They are a spirit of satisfaction, laHashem, to Hashem. Allah lechem, on account of the bread, because of the bread, there's an obligation for the bread. But if you're bringing these 2 breads that are right together with these 2 breads that are chametz, the only time, right? This is a special offering, shavuos, that you're bringing chametz. Whole sikha from the Rebbe on that, which we won't go into now, explaining this, like why we're bringing chametz, and so on. But again, not for now. And their meal offering and poured offering, mishpat mincha v'nisachim, in accordance with the standard rule of meal offering and poured libations, that are explicitly regard to any kind of animal, beparshas nisachim, that is brought in the second, when deals with the libations, which is going to be later on in Bamidbar. Sheshe Yisraelim lapar, 3/10 of an ephah for the bull, and Shnei Yisraelim la'ayel, 2/10 of an ephah for the ram. This is the libation we're talking about, right? The amount, we start on the keves, and 1/10 of an ephah. This is the amount, the volume, right, for the sheep. Zuhi mincha. This is the meal offering and the pouring of the offerings. The chetzi ayin lapar. Sorry, so that was the meal offering, the amount that you bring with those offerings, and then the libation is half ahin of wine for the bull, shishes ahin, a third of ahin for the ram. These are again volumes. Ahin lekeves, and a quarter of ahin for the sheep. You see how it goes down in the amounts: bull more, then a goat, then sheep less. Okay, number 19. V'asisem, and you shall make them. Seir izim, a he-goat, echad lechatas. Now that was the burnt offering that we just spoke about. Now together, remember, this is all happening on Shavuos, right? This is all the offerings. So together, they are also bringing, together with that, a he-goat, one of them, lachatas, for a sin offering, ushnei kvasim, and 2 lambs, b'nei shana, that are a year old, lezevach shlomim, that are a peace offering. Rashi, 19. Vasisim sirizim, you shall bring 1 he-goat. Yochel, I might think that the shivas kvasim is here, Murakan, that the 7 sheep and the he-goat that is stated over here, Haim shivas kvasim asir amurim bechumash pekudim, are the same 7 and 1 that is in the book of Numbers, that is in Parshas Pinchas. But when you reach the passage of the bulls and the rams, you see that it's not the same. You'll see that it's not the same, because our verse speaks about 1 bull and 2 rams. While in the Musaf offering there, it indicates 2 bulls and 1 ram. The opposite. So this is not Musaf over here. Okay? This is not Musaf. It sounds like it's Musaf, but it's not. Right? Well, no, Shavuos has Musaf. Right? But it's not. But Einam, so it's not the same Emor matters. Therefore, we say, we have to conclude, that these are for themselves, and these are for themselves. They're a different set of offerings. These offerings here are coming because of the meal offering, the 2 breads that are being brought, unique for Shavuos, right? The 2 breads that are chametz, right? Uniquely chametz. And in the book of Numbers, that's Musaf. Okay?
Yep.
And the kohen shall wave them, oisam them, alalecham, together with the bread, habikurim, the first offerings, tnufa lifnei Hashem, it's a wave offering before Hashem, al shnei kvasim, together with, along with the 2 lambs, Kodesh, they become holy. La Hashem, for God. La Koyin, for, and they belong to the Koyin. Rashi, Heinif HaKoyin Isam Tenufa, and the Koyin shall wave them. Malamed, this teaches us, Shatu and Tenufa, that they need waving. Mechaim, while they're still alive. Yachal, Kulam, I might think that it applies, waving while alive applies to all of these animals that were mentioned, including the 7 that were mentioned in verse 18. Talmud Laimar, but the verse says, Al Shnei Kvasim, it's only the 2 sheep. It limits the waving to the 2 sheep of the peace offering. 2 sheep were peace offering, those get waved. When? The animal's alive. So the Kohen had to pick it up and go with a lot, Why? Not now. They shall be sanctified. These are peace offerings of individuals. Kodshim kalim, they are of a lesser degree of holiness. Therefore, the Torah had to say, Shalmi Tzibor, about the peace offering of the public, Shem Kodshi Kodshim, that they are a higher degree of holiness. This is a peace offering. If I bring a peace offering, it is a lower degree of holiness. But you might think that therefore also, that if the congregation brings it, this is communal, right? The communal offering over here is also a lesser degree of holiness. There, so the verse says, they are holy. They're the higher level of holiness, which means it can only be slaughtered in the northern side of the Beis Hamikdash as opposed to anywhere. Okay. You shall designate the essence of this very day, Mikra Kodesh, as a holy convocation or holy occasion. Should be for you. Now, we didn't say there was a holy day until now, right? Shavuos. We just spoke about, right, about the offerings and everything, right? But now we're calling it, it's a holy day. Don't do any work. Loisasu, do not do. It is a statutory law for eternally, in all of your dwellings, for all generations. Meaning, even here in Montreal. Okay, last verse. And shall reap the harvest of your land. Do not remove the corners of your field because when you harvest, and the gleanings of your field you should not gather. They belong to the poor, to the stranger. Leave them for them. Ani Hashem Elokeichem, I am Hashem your God. Rashi b'kutzechem. I'm sorry. B'kutzechem. We're over our time. Let us focus. You reap chazer v'shana. The Torah returns and repeats this commandment. We already had this commandment. We had it in last week's parsha. We had it in last week's parsha. So why is it repeated? To give you two negative commandments. In other words, it's a severe thing. You're over two negative commandments if you transgress and don't leave the corners of your field and so on. Amar Abazadimis, Rabbi Yossi, Abadarmis, the son of Rabbi Yossi said, why did the verse say to place these commandments in the middle of the festivals? What's going on over here? We're talking about the festivals. There's a completely separate thing that's got nothing to do with the festivals, right? Because you got to do this all the time, leave the corners of your field and the gleanings. Pesach, so what do we have? Pesach and Shavuos on one side, right? And tomorrow we're going to learn Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Chag Mikan, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot on the other side, right? This is to teach you anybody who gives the gleanings and the gleanings and that which was forgotten in the corners of the field. So poor people, Karoi, Malin Alav, it's as if you built the holy temple. And you brought these offerings. Tazoiv, you shall leave. Hanach lifneyam, leave it before them. And they will take it together. Tazoiv, others, don't give it to them. Don't embarrass it and give it to the poor people. Leave it there and they'll take it on their own. You don't assist them. I'm Hashem your God. That if you do this, you will get your reward. All right. You will get your reward.